Well, what a day for Mayank Agarwal. The stories that Indian cricket tends to throw up. You thought if everyone was fit, or even if Ajinkya Rahane was fit, he could well have been the player to miss out. And he's responded to what would have been a judgment innings for him in some style. 120 not out of fine, 100, more importantly, an unbeaten 100 as Stumps has called on day 1, 221 for 4. Our India, Wasim Jaffer at tea time said he wants about 100 runs and 1 wicket in the last session. That was a request, that was a prediction. It's both, right? So, Wasim 221 for 4. You think India would take that at the end of day 1?
Oh, definitely. I think this session went completely in India's favor, and could be a very, important session. Not losing more than 1 wicket, Mayank getting 100, Saha contributing. I think those 110 runs are very, very vital going, looking at the test match because the ball spinning square with a
Yeah.
lot of bounce. And I think, batting will probably get harder and harder as the day progresses. So I think India would be very happy where they stand at the moment.
Yeah, and they have Mayank Agarwal to thank. 120 out of these 221 runs of the bat of Mayank. So take me through that innings, Wasim. Hallmark of it was how he played Ajaz Patel, who was clearly the standout bowler for New Zealand.
Yeah, I think he played fantastically well. And you correctly said that he could have. I mean, if Ajinkya would have been fit, he would have missed out. But he grabbed that opportunity, with both hands. And he's a gritty character. He's a fighter, and he knew that this test match, this inning was very, very vital for him, and he made the most of it. Coming in at a very good pitch, one Khede where the ball spinning square on day 1, and the most uh, bowler who looked like threatening,
Hmm.
Ejaz Patel, he took liking to him and played him really well. I mean, of all the batsmen, I think he played him the best. He attacked him, and even when the wickets were falling, he didn't took a backward step. And hallmark of how well he played the spin today. So
Hmm.
really, really happy for him.
Yeah, I heard a lot of former cricketers still talk about Mayank's technique, whether it's something that will make him succeed in all conditions at test level. What about his technique when it comes to playing spin? Because he looks a different player. For an opening bat, you think you'd be more conditioned to playing the quicker bowlers, but Mayank is he's dominates spin, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays spin really, really well. I mean, even in IPL, he's one of those batters who attacks the spinners even after 6 overs. So he's one of those batters, one of the openers who plays spin really, really well, and he attacks them. So I think that is a very good hallmark to have, or trait to have. That being an opener, you are always going to play the fast bowlers most of the time, but to play spin really, really well, especially in India, is a very, very good trait to have.
I'd love for you to maybe share some light or give me some insight on Mayank, the character. You had the chance to spend time with him at Punjab. We've seen, even with players like Rahul, when it comes to being regular in different formats, the adaptability becomes an issue. He's now been retained by the Punjab franchise. He may very well become captain. Who knows? There's a lot to like about Mayank in his white ball game. Where does he see himself in his red ball game? Does he have that desire to want to be a number one sort of test opener? And what do you know about Mayank that makes this day stand out more for him?
I think, like I said, he's a very, feisty cricketer. He's
Mm.
very, like a fighter. He always wants to play, always wants to do well. Whatever the situation you put him in, he always wants to come out, successful. And he does all the hard yards, whether it's batting for long hours or his training or his fitness. So he does he ticks all the boxes as far as preparation goes. And it's really, really nice to see him do well after doing all those things. And even when he came back to the IPL after the England tour, he was really upset that he missed out because of that concussion thing
Hmm.
happened, because he was in line to open to play uh, before KL. So he was very upset that he missed out that opportunity. Couldn't play the World Test Championship final. He was really looking forward to playing in that. So in that manner, he wants to play outside India, do well outside India, because he did said to me that the England tour happens every 4 years, so he won't get an opportunity again
Yeah.
for next 3 or 4 years. So he's one of those guys who wants to go out of India and do well in Australia, in England, in South Africa. So he does all the right things. He does tick all the boxes as far as preparation goes. And when somebody do well after that, makes me really happy to see him do well.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens now, Wasim, when India have to pick an 11 next time? Mayank Agarwal's got 100.
Well, I mean, now you got to question whether if India goes to South Africa, then whether Pujara will fit in, because then KL Rohit comes in, then you
Yes.
might see Mayank bat at that number. You never know. You got to think about somebody who's got runs. So you play your best batter who are in form. I mean, it's still quite a while to go, but I mean, the think tank mind might start to think in those manner. Shreyas Iyer or Shubman Gill for that matter. I mean, Shubman only got 40 odd, but those are the guys who will be pushing Ajinkya and Pujara for their places.
Hmm. All right, fair enough. Now let's look back at New Zealand's day. Ajaz Patel, the standout, Wasim, but he's bowled 29 out of the 70 overs, and the other spinners didn't have much of an impact. Between Somerville and Ravindra, 12 overs for 66. So how would you sum their day up?
I think it has been the story for New Zealand. I mean, if you look back to the Kanpur test on day one, Jamieson was the main bowler on that day. Nobody supported him on that day. The next day, Saudi came in and picked up those wickets. And even today, for that matter, Ejaz Patel didn't found another partner who could have supported him from the other end. Somerville was out of the attack. The way the batters played, even the fast bowlers didn't support him. But Ejaz Patel definitely bowled much better than what he did at Kanpur. He was
Yeah.
more consistent with his line and length. He got obviously purchased from the pitch, but staying consistent was the key, because in those conditions, the best ball would to be bowling in the stumps, and the pitch will do the rest. So that is something which he did really well today, and you could see that he was probably the best bowler on day one.
Okay, can we make an assessment with the evidence of 70 overs as to what would be a competitive or a good first inning score? Wasim, India 221. What do you think a good first inning score is?
I think the kind of batting that India has in store, the three spinners, they all can bat. So 350, 400 again, could be a possibility if the first session or the first hour goes India's way. But definitely they would be looking at 350 plus. If they get to 400, I think that will be the telling blow for New Zealand, because they have to bat second and fourth, and possibly, I mean, if India gets them, get them all out first innings for the cheaper score, they might get followed on. So you never know the kind of spin the pitch is getting. All three spinners will be licking their lips to bowl on those kind of pitches, and Akshar Patel again, Akshar and Ashwin will be deadly on that kind of pitch.
Yeah, you get that impression. That too, without Kane Williamson in the New Zealand batting lineup, makes it only that much harder. Wasim Jaffer, thank you so much. Always a pleasure listening to you talk cricket on ESPN Cricket for Match Day. Let's pick up this chat along with Dan Vittori at lunchtime on day two. I'm not sure if there are going to be any tweaks to the session timings, but we'll have you covered on that on ESPN Cricket for, as well as our social handles. Join us at lunchtime on day two, and we'll see where India stand then. For today, of course, it's the day for Mayank Agarwal to remember.